Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of A Respectful Conversation. I'm your host, Katie Muse, and today we're talking about
the Marvel Cinematic Universe!
Woo! Sweet. Okay, today he's back, ladies and gentlemen. My go-to guest, my like number one supporter, honestly, for the podcast, and he's like helping me with like editing the YouTube videos, and I get to be on his YouTube channel and stuff. Tim's back.
Hey, thanks for having me, Katie. I love the show. I'm a big ARC fan. Let's go.
Yeah, we're talking Marvel Cinematic Universe. I don't know about like the comics too much because I haven't read a comic. Have you read a comic, Tim?
I do, yeah. I read comics. I'm very picky about my comics. So not Marvel, but Batman's kind of my go-to comic guy. Like, that's why I have such a love for Batman. I'm really into the Batman comics. I read Spider-Man comics when I was a kid. Like, I don't read Spider-Man comics as much now. And then usually if there's a new Marvel Cinematic Universe coming out, I'll go read the comic that inspired it. So for instance, when Infinity War was coming out, they had the 1980s comic, Infinity Gauntlet, and I went out and got that for myself and like read it to kind of do a little homework before.
So yeah, you've read some comics. I have not. Have you seen all of the MCU films? Because I have one that I still have not watched.
I have one I still have not watched too, and I'm wondering if it's the same one.
I can't remember if it is or not.
Do we want to say it at the same time?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right. On three. Okay. 1, 2, 3. The
Captain Marvel.
Oh, okay.
Oh, then the Incredible Hulk too. We're counting that. I also have not seen that. But yeah, I haven't seen Captain Marvel yet. Oops. And you mentioned your what are your go-tos that you watch?
Oh,
or like your comfort food Marvel, because I know I have mine too.
All right, so I challenged Katie to do a top 5 Marvel MCU movie list before the episode, because I have my top 5. Some are predictable and some aren't as predictable. So here are mine. Avengers Endgame right away takes a spot. I love Endgame. Some people like Infinity War better. Some people like Endgame better. I happen to like Endgame a little better. I like both a lot. Just all of my favorite Avengers survived the snap. So that's kind of why I lean towards Endgame. Yeah. Then Black Panther. Really, really like Black Panther a lot. Winter Soldier is really up there for me. Winter Soldier, if I'm picking a number 1 spot, that's hard to beat. I like a spy movie.
Wow.
Yeah, I like a good spy movie, FamousSecretAgent, as it goes. And I love that team up of Black Widow and Cap and Falcon too. I think that's a really fun trio. Then original Iron Man, showing respect. And then the one that surprises everyone, the one that, this is number 5, or no order, but like the one that surprises everyone, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Yeah, some of you should know it's surprising sometimes to hear Tim say Winter Soldier because he hates Bucky with a passion.
So yeah, one of my talking points today is to try and I'm gonna try and explain my dislike for Bucky. But Winter Soldier, I know that the title is Bucky, but I don't attribute them together. I think Winter Soldier is just a fantastic plot. If you watch that movie, Bucky's in it for maybe 15 minutes. He's actually barely in the film. It's just he's kind of a plot point that revolves around the film, but I'd argue he's not a character in that movie at all. He's literally something the plot revolves around, which is a really interesting concept. It's when Bucky is a character, that's when I'm not particularly a fan. But
hanging out in Wakanda, working on a farm.
I mean, I didn't see anything happen in Wakanda. I remember everyone was hyped for him to be in Wakanda, and then he doesn't do anything. Yeah. I think there is a total of maybe a minute and a half of screen time of him in Wakanda. But what are your top 5, Katie? If you had to pick a top 5.
Okay, if we're doing it based off of like, because honestly, I sat earlier and I looked at the list of the movies and I was just like, I was torn between if I was doing like top shelf takes opinions of like critically acclaimed, what people really like, or if I was just doing like my comfort food, like which ones are near and dear to my heart. And
Yeah.
if we're talking near and dear to my heart, a lot of the ones I'm gonna say, okay, I'm gonna say 3 out of my 5. I might change it, but 3 out of my 5 are from phase 1
Mm,
of the MCU.
yeah.
Um, I I mentioned it in the last episode I did where I talked about my favorite fictional characters. I love Captain America, so the first Captain America um, is my fave. Uh, maybe my number one as far as like comfort
Wow.
movies go.
Interesting.
I would say that just because I think it's really well done. I just like it as a story, you know.
No,
Um,
I love it. I like get a little defensive about that movie because that's one of the go-to ones people like say is bad, and I'm just like, I don't agree. I think it's a really fun movie.
right? Oh boy, unpopular opinions. Blah blah blah. I might throw another one in there in a second.
Do it.
Um, so phase one's one. So I've seen Thor so many times, and I don't know why because I don't like first movie Thor. I think he's a pain in the butt and just an annoying person. But he develops, I get it, but like, and also I think it's kind of like just boring. For some reason I've seen Thor so many times that I feel like I have to put it in my top 5.
Sure.
And then the first Avengers movie, which I know you have mixed feelings about, Tim. But
Throw me on the spot, Katie. No, I think they get better as they go. Like
I think
well,
I'll be paired out for my next thing that I say. So I'm not gonna put Infinity War and Endgame on here because I've only watched them once and I haven't gotten to like have a refreshed like opinion on them. But obviously they're awesome and kind of like live in a tier in of their own in my brain right now. Um, but I'm gonna one that I literally like I bought the DVD for was Thor: The Dark World.
real is that going in your top 5,
I'm
Katie?
gonna put it there. If anything, just because we're
Oh,
having a fun time. I really like. I remember really liking Thor: The Dark World, and like fast forward a few years, people were like, "Oh, this is fucking stupid," and like one of the worst. And I'm like, "Oh, oops." But I think
that's
it's because
so
I like,
funny. Oh my goodness. Oh no, no. I'm like this is a safe space. I love it. I'm just amazed. I think you might be the first person I've ever met that
yeah,
like is that so high.
right, like, and it's purely because I'm a very character based person
Mhm.
more than a plot based person, and that movie has a lot of Loki, and Loki was also featured on my list last week of my favorite fictional characters. So like that's really the like bulk of why. And then just to hear like to have Thor beat a Loki what like Cap is to Bucky was entertaining to watch for me of just
Sure.
Thor soften up a little bit, you know. Is it as good as Thor Ragnarok? I don't think so. I'll put that in my top 5 too. I think Thor Ragnarok's like really unique and awesome. um and then lastly, if WandaVision was a movie, I'd put it in my top 5 for damn sure.
You know what? I think WandaVision should be held up to the exact same status as the films. I don't think anyone should take away anything because it's a TV show.
No.
Because I really just like, I mean, first of all, it's just really good. Like, it's so good. But second of all, like, they're doing something that I can't think of anything else that's done it, where they're
Right.
transitioning to like TV series, I guess. Maybe it's not even TV because it's streaming, but it's like a series that is supposed to be at the exact same level as the movies. Because if you think about it, like you could hold it up to Agents of Shield, right? Because like Agents of Shield is arguably the other one that did it, but Agents of Shield feels like it's a lower level than the movies. It
Yeah.
feels like it's something that's like ground floor. This is something that they're like, no, this is exactly the same as if we just released a WandaVision movie and it's the same timeline and it's the same like level of status. And
Yeah.
that's crazy to me. I love it.
It's so cool. And it's just also like because I had to convince my dad and my brother to watch it. Because they were of the same mindset as I was going into it of like, I didn't feel like or I guess I still don't feel like they touched upon Wanda a whole lot in the films
Yeah.
and Vision and their relationship. So I was like, why should I care about a show about them? but like when my brother was like, or my dad was like, can you like tell me, like I was trying to think of a show that it was similar to, and I seriously struggled because like it's just it's incredibly unique to me and like really brilliant, I think, what they're doing. And ultimately what I came up with was Stranger Things, because like I thought like visually that's like as close as I could get to to what it was, but like still it's a thing all of its own. It's so cool. I'm like obsessed with it now.
I told people Twilight Zone. Just
Yeah.
like that's probably the best one I can do, just because like it has those like kind of like mismatched themes that are purposefully put together, and it has a spooky vibe, I think, for sure, which is really cool. And yeah, I just wow, I just love how creative it is. I really like creative out there things, which is going to directly contradict this statement where oh, okay, I am not a huge Thor movie fan. Like, I like the character. We're not talking about the character, just separate. All three movies, and I'm including Ragnarok, are just not really for me. It's not even that I'm like, oh, they're bad movies. No, I'm just recognizing they're not for me. And the reason is one of my favorite things about the Marvel Cinematic Universe is I tell people there's a movie for everyone. Like there are so many different types of movies and so many different characters and great world building in this that if you don't like one, there's another one for you.
Yeah.
My favorite sides to this whole universe are usually the kind of like Black Ops secret agent type characters where like I like Cap a lot. I like Black Widow a lot. I've always been a really big Black Widow fan. I've always been waving that flag, even when the movies let her down a little bit. I like her a lot. I like Hawkeye a lot. I know he's kind of like the one people laugh at, but yeah, I like Black Panther a lot. I sometimes kind of put him under that same lens of just like, not street level, but you know what I'm saying? Like he has to go undercover sometimes.
Yeah.
He has to kind of like play with the politics of it all that I kind of am into. So that's always been my favorite parts of the MCU. But like, if someone just wants to watch a straight up comedy, they can go watch Ant-Man. Or if someone wants to go like, if someone wants to go fantasy, they can go watch the Thor movies. And it's so cool that like there are those options for people.
That makes sense. Like I feel the same. Like I am not big on the Guardians of the Galaxy for some reason.
Oh, okay.
Particularly the second one, actually. I remember like when I saw it, I was just like, by the time I left, I don't know, I just wasn't, I was like, what? But like again, it's this, but at the same time, I respect the fact that like Guardians of the Galaxy brought in this whole other dimension, literally, basically, of or universe of like to the MCU as a whole. Like I get what they're that ultimately I feel like that's like part of the core of why the MCU is so great and why I love it is because it's a freaking universe. Like this just in general is like a thing that hasn't really been done before. So
so just talking about Guardians of the Galaxy, like you said, your unpopular opinion was putting Thor the Dark World in your list. Mine's gonna be that I watched Guardians of the Galaxy 1, and I'm not saying I didn't recognize it for being a good movie. Do you remember when Guardians of the Galaxy 1 came out and everyone was like blown away saying it was like the best thing ever?
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I watched it and I was like, it was a good movie. I just don't get the hype. And then for whatever reason, I watched Guardians 2 and I was like, I get it. And then but everyone else watched Guardians 2 and they were like, it wasn't the first one. And I was like, really, that's the one? Because I had a similar reaction that you said for Thor 2, where you were like, it's more a character film.
Yeah.
And that was Guardians 2 to me. I was like, I get all these characters. I feel like they all are like made to struggle with like their identities, and that's something that I just connected with, and I was like, yeah, I'm really vibing with Guardians 2. I like it a lot. I think the soundtrack's better. It's very high on my workout list. I love the Guardians 2 soundtrack, and it's just I love Guardians 2. I really do.
You want to talk villains?
Yeah, we can talk villains.
I don't know. Well, I already said like I love Loki, and I know that some people have mixed feelings about Loki.
I like Loki.
But Chris, thank you. Because like I just appreciate, and I talked about this a little bit in the last episode, I just appreciate the and I think again this is part of why I like the first Thor so much, is like the scene where he like figures out that he's not Asgardian is really impactful and powerful to me. And like I watched the trailer the other day. I can't really tell what the heck his series is going to be about. I don't know yet, but like I'm just excited he's gonna get to shine a little bit more, especially because he's kind of like Vision, where we thought maybe he wouldn't be around anymore.
But you know what's crazy about his series? It's Loki from the Avengers. Like
Right.
it's the Loki who, for better or worse, the Loki with all the character development where he came a long way and was just strongly an anti-hero died in Infinity War. Spoiler alert. Like that Loki is gone. He's dead. He actually stayed dead. But the Loki that's back is the one from Avengers. So does he have to relearn all that? Is he going to relearn all that? I don't know.
I think Age of Ultron is another one that I've only watched once because it hasn't been up there for me.
Sure.
But and I remember not really, I think I found Ultron like annoying for some reason. But again, in watching like theory videos and stuff about WandaVision and like clips of Wanda doing her thing, Ultron comes up naturally. And I realized that he's actually like, it actually is more complex, I think, than I recall.
Yeah.
More interesting than I recall.
I think one of my problems with Age of Ultron is, for me, the coolest stuff happens towards the beginning of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's not like a fault. I just like my favorite scenes are at the beginning of the movie because Age of Ultron just has the like random party in Avengers Towers where we get to just see all the Avengers just hanging out and trying to lift Thor's hammer. And I don't know why. I just love how human that makes all of them.
Yeah.
Like, I love just watching these guys just hang out with a beer, you know?
Yeah.
And I love the little contest with Thor's humor. But the scariest, coolest part is when Ultron's first alive and he's coming out and he's like a little like robot that's barely hanging on by a thread and he's like singing a Pinocchio song. It's so scary, right out of a horror movie. And I love it. And I wish I had a little more like that. But I was watching it yesterday and I was like, this is awesome. How he just interrupts such a good time just in his like little zombie T-Rex mode like thing. I don't know. but I love that.
I feel like up there for most people is, I hate that I'm forgetting his name right now. But the one from Black Panther.
Oh, Killmonger.
Killmonger, thank you. I was thinking Kilgrave. I was like, no, that's Jessica Jones. Stop. Killmonger, yes, he's cool.
Yeah, I love him. I mean, I just like Michael B. Jordan. I hope he's back in the universe. I love to hit that villain because that was a case where I would be more interested watching him and T'Challa just sit down at a table and talk. Like, I would be more interested in them just having a conversation about their worldviews than I would them punching each other. And that's just the mark of a great villain. We have not talked about the man himself, Thanos.
Right.
Yeah.
Snap, baby.
Great villain. I love him. Do you know how much I love Thanos?
How much?
I liked Thanos so much, and they made such a compelling case on why he like was doing this fanatic stuff and like trying to wipe out half the universe because he felt like it was a necessary evil and he was the calling and like it was his hard life. Like it was like, to him it was like, it's a tough job but someone's got to do it. And like it was like such a code of honor for him that at the end of Infinity War, when he does it and he sits down and does exactly what he said and he just looks up on a grateful universe, there was a part of me that was like, good for you, man. Like you did it. Like obviously I don't want genocide to stick, and that's not something I'm advocating for even a little bit, to be abundantly clear. And I want them to change it back. But there was a part of me that was like, he had an impossible goal, he set out, and he did it.
No, that's fair. I feel like my perception of Thanos is just like, is like someone that I just disagree with, but I'm like, you do your thing. Like, I know I'm crazy. I get why, like, you have your idea of how the world works, and like you got to do what you got to do, and I personally disagree with you. But like, it feels like a weird mutual respect of like, I think his objective is so clear that
Yeah.
you're just like, all right, yeah, man.
I've said this before. This is my big flag I'm waving. I'm gonna keep waving it. I want Wanda to be the next villain of the MCU. Like, period. Because I feel Thanos is, no pun intended, the end game. I think you can't top him. I think, like, in terms of just raw power and raw just like destruction, you cannot go bigger than Thanos. I don't understand. You got the whole universe to fight him and it almost wasn't enough. So I think the only way you can follow that up is by breaking the heart of the team and taking away like someone who like was such a force of good and like always there, and having it be Wanda. And Wanda is arguably just as powerful as Thanos.
Oh yeah, like they say that in the show of like she almost like defeated him
Yeah.
in Endgame.
And
He was almost the
she
one to
did.
take him down.
She did. If you rewatch Endgame, there's a moment where the two of them face off
Yeah.
and he can't take her. And so he needs a distraction because he can take Captain Marvel, but he can't take her.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
What about heroes? Favorite heroes?
Yeah. Okay. So I want you to say this real quick. I have a little challenge for you, if you will,
Ooh.
Katie. Okay. You can't think about it. You need to blurt out the first answer that comes to your head. Favorite character in the MCU. You need to say it. You need to say it just right now. Go. Say it.
Steve Rogers, Captain America. Yeah, I know we agree on this.
That's our connection. That's it right there. I love him. I know, as you said in Top Shelf, he's kind of like the vanilla answer. Yeah, it doesn't change my opinion. I love Steve Rogers so much.
Yeah, and again, I talked about this last week. Steve, this is why I love the first Captain America, because I love his development of just like we said, like kind of vanilla, but honestly, just the fact that he's just like he was this good guy who just happened to be small and like couldn't really achieve the things that he wanted to achieve, and then he gets this opportunity seemingly just because he's a good person.
Yeah.
To like completely change his life. And I just remembered Stanley Tucci's in that movie, and I always
My favorite Captain America moment is in Avengers Endgame, when every other it's right before the portals open up. Like right before the portals open up, when he is standing on his own, his shield is broken, the team is all down, and he's just facing an overwhelming army. And what does he do? He stands up and he still walks toward it, because it goes back to movie one. He doesn't like bullies. That's it.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. And he doesn't like bullies so much that he will be like, you know what? It doesn't matter if you have an army. I'm going to draw a line in the sand and I'm going to say, you move. And that's just so cool.
I just want to get this out there again. I said I'm not a huge like Guardians of the Galaxy fan, but Mantis is up there for me, and I think it's probably because I like relate to her in some way. But like, I'm gonna support an empath no matter what. But also she's just like quirky and cute and odd in a very charming way, and the relationship she has with Dax is so great.
I like Mantis a lot, but can I like lightly make fun of Mantis for a second?
Oh yeah.
Okay, because I really, really like Mantis. I think she's funny. I think she's different. Like, I like having someone that's there that can't fight and stand on their own. She needs to find other ways around it, which is really fun. And I think that's a nice contrast. My thing I like to like make fun of Mantis for a little bit, and it's that like female team up moment in Endgame when all the like female superheroes are like gearing up and they're walking towards the enemy and all that, and they're like very clearly getting ready to go hand to hand with like the enemy. Mantis is in that lineup, and every time I'm watching it and I'm like, Mantis, what do you think you're gonna do? Like I admire that, like I admire the like push to want to be part of the team, but like you aren't gonna go up and punch one of these things. That's not your style.
She's just gonna grab their head and go inside their head.
I mean, it's badass when she's on Thanos and does it to him. Like, I never would have thought of that. That's great.
What a queen.
I need your thoughts on Professor Hulk. Like, do you like Professor
Hulk?
Oh
my God, apparently not, because I kind of wiped it from my brain.
Oh, okay.
I don't really remember. I think it was just something. Yeah, when I picture it, when I remember it, there's something a little off-putting about it to me.
Interesting. Okay.
I don't know why. I don't really. Again, I've only seen those ones like once, but
So I really like Professor Hulk. The thing I'm holding out on Professor Hulk for is I'm a little sad I won't be seeing Mark Ruffalo anymore if we just
yeah,
go through. Like
I that's part of why I don't like it too.
I think Mark Ruffalo is just a nice looking guy. I like seeing him there. He's a very comforting presence. And I know he's still there, but like it's not exactly the same. And you know, like
That's fair.
yeah.
That's fair. Who else? Peter Parker. Thank God he's part of the MCU now.
Yeah. We can talk about him in Infinity War with the dusting scene. That was apparently improv, and he wanted to do that. And then, because everyone else was snapped, and then I think I'm kind of doing second-hand news here, so don't hold me to this, but I think the Russo brothers were like, "Oh, that's a good idea, but like you don't really feel the snap coming. Like it just happens so quickly." But he made the argument. He said, "But it's the spider sense that's just going off that it's coming." So like what he doesn't feel good on is not the snap itself. It's his spider sense that is just going insane and messing with him.
That's nuts.
Isn't that nuts? Like that's so crazy.
Yeah, I had heard about that, and I hadn't even noticed it before. That everyone else is just kind of like, "Ooh," but like honestly, the first thing I think of when I think of who, like the first person I think of for the snap is him because of the pain that he's going through.
It stays with you.
Props to Tom Holland for the research.
But we almost got to move this without talking about Tony Stark, and I just I feel like we need to just say how good Robert Downey Jr. is in that role. He pulls the MCU together. I did him a little dirty in Top Shelf Takes, but I just want to clarify that my reasoning was I think it's all Robert Downey Jr. I think that the character itself is just kind of like an Avenger, not an Avenger, but like he's not my go-to, but the magic is in the actor in that one for me. I'm like he just brings this component to it that he's so good in those films. I love him. We should end on that gut feeling.
Oh, yes.
I think that's a really nice little bookmark.
Yeah, that is nice.
Me and Ted were talking one time. And Ted, past guest to the show, friend of ours, and I said, I was trying to find a movie moment that gave me the same gut feeling that Endgame's On Your Left gave me. And I genuinely couldn't think of anything. And I'm not saying it's the best movie moment of all time. Could be. I'm just not saying that. I'm just saying, like, I don't know if anything's done that much work to earn that exact moment, to like build that gut emotional feeling that just made you feel in the audience like I'm running right with them, like let's go, Yeah,
man, that's again, like it's a unique thing, and I think part of it is all the world building that they've done over like years and years. But then also too, I can say that like I get those vibes watching the first Captain America or like watching the first Iron Man of like it's just it's maybe, and I guess it's character building too and character work.
I think a lot of it's friendship too. I think though like people might not want to admit it. I think people, and I'll speak for me, I love friendship in things, and when I just see characters like come through for each other and just be a support net, it means a lot to me. And so I think at the end of the day, when the Avengers all stand with each other and they're working together or whatever, you're like, but they also like really care about each other, and I believe that, and I've gone on this journey with them. And so I know you were talking about some of the single movies, but like I feel like you can put that with some of the single movies too, like for better or worse, Bucky stands with Steve, and that's where you get that. But like, yeah.
Oh yeah. And like I'm thinking of the first Avengers and that shot of them, like, where it circles around them and gets all of them together. Like any team up moment is like, that's why like Endgame is so amazing.
Yeah.
Because of like the team element of things. Also too, I think part of it probably of why I get that, like I feel like the heroism in my gut is because it's set like in our world. Like to watch them save like New York City or like Spider-Man climb up the Washington Monument is like particularly close to home. Whereas, as I mentioned to Tim, I think before we started recording, that like I finally caught some of the Batman movie the other night, and like, you know, we don't have a Gotham. Although
Yeah.
Gotham's like can be argued it's similar to New York, but it's different from like seeing a group of heroes actually save like the actual world we're in.
Yeah.
If you could have a superpower, what superpower do you have?
It's such an easy. Well, are we saying superpower or someone's powers? Because I feel like that's a different question.
Ooh, I don't know. I feel like just like if you were a superhero, or do you already have like a thing that you feel like is like a superhero power? Because I know that I've said that I feel like I got invisibility down, kind of.
Okay. So I'll do both answers to both questions, just because like I kind of have my own question. If I'm looking at a hero, I want Spider-Man's powers. Like I want everything that comes with that. But if we're looking at one superpower, I love super speed. I like the Flash. I like Quicksilver. I like it a lot. So if we're just saying you get one flat out, that's a really cool one to me. I'd like that.
Cool. I think we're wrapping it up, everybody. Go ahead and make some more plugs. We made a lot of them at the beginning, but we're back with more at the end.
Go to Famous Secret Agent. Check us out. That's our YouTube channel we've been working on forever. Katie's on there. We got a respectful conversation up there. It's lit. It's awesome. She's great. We have several new shows going up all the time. Top Shelf Takes is one of our other shows. That's just a debate show where we make a top 6 list of different topics. We have a ton of fun over there. We're entertainment, and you know, it's usually from a millennial Gen Z perspective. So that's kind of a cool way to add a new creative vibe to things. So yeah, like and subscribe. It helps us out.
Yes. And then a respectful conversation, as Tim mentioned, you can catch some of the episodes in their video version on YouTube on Famous Secret Agent. And then otherwise, you can listen to the audio version of the podcast on SoundCloud and Spotify. It goes up every Sunday. Just come on and chat and have a respectful conversation.